Hey everybody, this is Michael White. I hope you guys are having a fantastic morning. I wanted to let you guys know as we're starting the podcast, look, this is all about bringing couples together. That's what this podcast is about. Because again, men and women work better together than apart. But for us to work together, we have to be able to address certain constructs and certain things to make the relationship work in a better unit, right? Because a lot of times, like, we have to be honest, like, there's certain behaviors and thought patterns and certain things that are keeping people singles. Sometimes people are choosing to be singles, but a lot of times there's certain habits and patterns that are inconducive to being in a relationship. We don't have all the answers. We're not perfect. We don't know everything, but as time goes on and we learn from others, we learn what works and what doesn't work. Now, it's always based off to the individual, right? Everyone's going to be different, but we can't we have to use what the majority feel. Like, that's the thing. We have to look at numbers and odds of probability and how certain people feel about certain things. And then we base those numbers off of, okay, this is how much these group of people feel, because some people are going to be very unique. Some people are going to be like that exception to the rule, but we also have to look at it. They don't make the rule, right? So we have to always look at how the majority feel. So with that being said, is I just wanted you guys to understand the podcast and how it works, and more of in a sense of what it is we do here and bringing men and women together instead of apart. So again, we're actually going to get started on today's topic, which is going to be a good one. It says, why do women run away from good men?
Haha, why do women run away from good men, Michael? What is it?
Yeah.
What is
So
it?
there's so many reasons why, right? Like, a lot of times how do I put this? They're not used to good men. Like, let's be honest. A lot of women that I've spoken to or dealt with or whoever had really bad experiences with men. So when a good man steps into their life and he's good, he's doing what he's supposed to do, it scares her off because she's not used to that type of behavior. She's looking for something to be wrong with that man. She's like, okay, like, this is too good to be true. And we're actually going to play a video that's actually going to explain it, and we're actually going to break it down. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's from a podcast that I greatly respect, on the highest levels. So we're gonna break the video down. We're gonna listen to Hafiz, part of the roommates talk. Again, this is fair use. It's on YouTube. We're using it to promote positivity. We're using it to bring awareness. And the guest that he has on is named Lori. So we're gonna
Um,
play the video. We're gonna enjoy it. We're gonna break it down, and we'll go from there.
before you press play, Michael, I just want to say, before you do press play, I just want to also say that many of us, and I think men and women, I don't think it's just women, but we're speaking about women here. Um, when a good man comes along, it's also to do with self-love, and many women don't know how to accept that love, so they push it away. So they might see the goodness in a man, but they also push the love away because they don't know how to accept it. So rather than accepting it, they resist it and create an argument because they feel overwhelmed too much for them. They don't know how to accept it because they haven't found that peace in themselves, right?
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Yeah, because they're not used to that type of behavior, because they're used to being in relationships with men that have let them down, that
Yes.
didn't fulfill their roles properly, and all of these things, right? Like, there's so many factors when it comes to that. But I think Lori breaks it down the best, and that's why, like, again, you guys are going to enjoy this. We're going to enjoy this, and we're going to break it down.
starts even dating someone that she hooks up with in the waiting room. I don't mean they hook up in the waiting room. Our office is not that exciting, but they meet in the waiting room. And I know that he's going to be bad news because everyone she chooses is bad news. And so why is that? It's because if you haven't worked through whatever, like however you were disappointed in childhood, right? If you haven't worked through that, then you choose people who are similar to that, even though you think you're choosing the opposite. So it's kind of like you see a guy and your unconscious says, oh, you look familiar, come closer, right? And he might not be exactly like the parent who disappointed you or whatever you didn't get as a child, but once you get to know him, he is. And that's why you are drawn to those people. So then she would go out with these guys who were amazing guys, and then she'd be like, yeah, he's amazing, but like, I don't know, I just didn't feel the spark. I didn't feel the chemistry because you haven't worked through that other stuff. So you don't feel comfortable. You actually get anxious around people who are good for you. People who are good for you, you either get numb, you feel nothing, or you get anxious, right? Or you get repulsed. Right? It's one of those things happens. And so it's really important to understand why if you find this pattern, it's kind of like if a fight breaks out in every bar you're going to, maybe it's you. So if every guy you're dating is like, a jerk or is disappointing to you or is unreliable, maybe it's you, meaning maybe you are choosing people like that. And then what people say is, oh, men are terrible. They're all awful. It's like you're choosing people and we call this repetition compulsion. You're repeating something from childhood over and over to try to master a situation that you will always lose at. And so that's really important, is to understand the psychology of what you're doing as well. And actually, when you talk about butterflies, there's a study in the book that I cite that they did the study of people who had been married for 20 years, and they followed them not with memory, but at the time they followed them every few years. They interviewed them. So after the first date, after the first year, after the first, every year, or I think it was maybe every 5 years they followed up, and they asked them about their relationships. And the people who were happily married at 20 years, when you asked them about their first date later, they would say, oh, yeah, we had like instant chemistry, right? But if you went back to 20 years ago when they reported at the time, they said, like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of nice. Maybe I'll go on another date. Like, there wasn't instant chemistry. But because they're happy now, they remember it differently. The people who were unhappy would say, like, oh, yeah, I never really liked him in the first place. But at the time, they reported, oh, my God, I have amazing sparks with this person. So we change based on how we see the relationship now. Our memory of it changes. So it's really important for people to know that many people who are madly in love with their partners and very happy with them did not immediately have that amazing butterfly sensation that the movies tell us we're supposed to have. And that came later. It came in a process of really getting to know the person, of understanding, who we are, who they are, and forming those connections. It doesn't happen immediately. Sometimes that chemistry is a sign that you are being attracted to something that is dangerous for you.
No, that's great. And one of the things I also liked about the book at the very end was just you being radically honest about, this isn't a dating book. This is me sharing my story, which makes perfect sense of why that you've been successful in your counseling field. And one of the things that you say is that, like, this is a warning for young ladies about, this is where the mistakes I've made.
Right.
And because I've made these mistakes, these are things that I'm having to now deal with. And your hope through that book is that women will be able to learn from your story and learn from your experience so that they won't be able to make the same mistake. But one of the things I also noticed was that earlier on in the book, when you were in this the meeting with all the younger women and you were sharing some of these ideas, the younger women were not receptive to some of the things that you were saying. So my question is, post, writing the book and then during your current counseling sessions, when you talk to young women about these things, about the unrealistic expectations, about prioritizing the wrong things, about, not giving the right guy the opportunities, what has been the receptiveness from these women and what has been the pushback? Has it been more receptive? Has it been more pushback? What has your experience been like?
Well, when the book first came out, I mean, it became a New York Times bestseller.
Okay, guys, we pretty much broken it down, but we're going to talk about it now. You see, as she says, the reason why a lot of times women date these unhealthy men, it leads back to childhood, some type of disappointment, some type of letdown, and then she will seek out these pattern in these men.
Mm-hmm.
So then
Don't
it's
know about it.
yeah, so it's bad boy after bad boy after bad boy after bad boy, thinking that there's nothing wrong with her, that there's something wrong with them. And as she said, if a fight breaks out in a bar, every bar you go to, you know what I mean? Now you gotta reanalyze your situation. And this is not to pick on women, but it's to give them the proper education that sometimes you need to do this self-reflection and look at yourself, because you're saying, oh, these guys are always hurting me or they're doing this. And it's like, well, sweetheart, maybe there's some patterns inside of you that are entertaining these men longer than you should have been.
Absolutely. And you know what? I can honestly put my hands up and say I'm one of those women who did attract all the wrong men. And I used to be like, I couldn't understand, why is this happening? Why do I keep attracting the wrong people? And it wasn't until I got quite deep into personal development that I realized, and I'm speaking of recent, not even, it took a long time to get there, because to admit that to yourself, to know that it's you, is not the most easiest thing. You want to blame somebody else. You want to say it's their fault. You want to say, oh, he's the one that's the problem, because we're kind of built like that, to kind of point our fingers elsewhere. But it wasn't until like maybe even like 3 years ago, I would say, that I actually came to my realization to realize, actually, it's me. I'm the one attracting these people. It's me. There's something inside me. So I had to go deep and look inside myself to what's happened in my life as a child. What have I experienced? What's the patterns that's happening here? I had to ask myself all sorts of questions. And it wasn't an overnight success for me to say, okay, I mean, look, and I've purposely kept myself single over the past 3 years because of this, because I know if I tried to go and find somebody a year after my last relationship, I would have attracted the same. I know I would have done, because I hadn't had that full clearance in myself. I hadn't released all this deep anger or resentment that I didn't even know was there, subconsciously was in me. So I've kept myself single, and even though I've met people, I said no, I'm not interested until I feel I'm completely clear of this, which I feel now that I'm at another level, and I've understood so much more about myself, and actually obviously being involved with love and relationship podcasts and studying and learning, it takes me even more to a next level. So I know now, if I was to walk out my door today and I was to meet somebody, I would give it every chance, because I feel that I'm ready for that. But so many of us don't actually do that. We don't want to admit to ourselves, but it is time to really take that self-responsibility and think to yourself, well, if this is what's been happening over this number of years, and they've all been the same type of person, and you've ended up having these relationships where there's arguments continuously, or maybe even abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, whatever it's been, and that hasn't been right, even if it hasn't been at that level, but it just hasn't, you just know it hasn't resonated, then you must do that personal development in yourself. You must learn about you and why, because otherwise we all want to have and experience the best relationship we want to experience in this lifetime. I know I want to experience that in my lifetime, the best of the best. So what's the only thing I can do to experience the best of the best is look inside myself to find the answers, and then implement what I've learned and move forward with that.
I agree with that. You see, she said something that was really interesting also. And again, maybe this is something you could chime in on. She said that so the most happiest marriages, when they started, like not the marriages, but like when they first started dating, the spark wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So as she says, in a lot of relationships, we're fed this lie of like it has to be sparks and fireworks at the beginning. A lot of times it's not. And as she says, like, you have to kind of grow into that. So, the whole like having burning desire for somebody, like, yeah, you should at least be attracted to them. We're not just telling you to just say yes to every good guy, but at least be able to feel him out and say, how does he make me feel? Is he reciprocative? Does he show up for me? And then based off of that, now you can say, hey, if he was to ever ask me out, I would definitely say yes. Because you see, like, as she says, the spark lie, and that's what I like to call it, because that's what it is. You think that every guy is going to make you feel these butterflies and all these things, but you just said that studies have proved that they didn't always start out that way.
And I think that's a really big point that you're making there, Michael, and what she's made there, because again, through personal experiences, the ones that I've had this amazing spark with have not been the right ones for me. They just haven't. And the ones that I've kind of taken my time and just, you don't really, you're not feeling them in that sense. However, they have been the good men, and they're the ones I've pushed away because I never knew no different. And it's so interesting to be here right now and having this discussion and be able to look back. Like I've said before, you look back and you go, wow, this has helped us. I have my own realizations through these podcasts too. And I think it's so powerful to realize that, take your time, get to know, like Michael just said, at the end of the day, if somebody's showing up for you and what they're doing is showing, they're giving you that time, attention, and that love towards you, then you know that that person is going to be around for a long time, and you could possibly have a really powerful relationship. But the ones that come along and it's like giddy and like, oh my God, I really like him, and you're just in that lust moment, and that's all it is, they're not really going to go nowhere, because you're not going by the actions of someone. You're going by a feeling and those emotions, they will lead you the wrong way. They really do.
Your emotions can fail you, women, a lot of times. Like, that's the thing. We're not saying emotions are bad, but they can lead you sometimes when it comes to picking good men. Because the thing is, a lot of women ask this question of, why am I still single and I'm 30 years old? Why am I still single? Some choose to be, but in a lot of cases, with certain women at a certain age want to have a family, boyfriend, whatever, right? And a lot of them say, well, why am I single at this age? Well, let's ask the question. There were probably some good men that asked you out over your lifespan that you never gave a chance to, and probably would have treated you well, taken care of you, did everything you wanted him to do. But because you have this perception that everything needs to be like fairy tales and butterflies and all these things, now you've passed off on some good suitors. Because I've seen it. I've seen some girls do that. They're 30. They try to go back to those men to say, hey, like, would you want to go out? And the men are like, no, I already have a girlfriend already. And then they're like, oh, like, man, I should have taken the chance, or I should have let that guy take me out. And it's like, with this conversation that we're having today, we're trying to help women educate, not to say yes to every man, but to understand that the fairy tale lie that you were told is not true.
Absolutely. It's not true. You're right. Look, we've all got an individual personality, obviously, but there's I think you said at the beginning, there's an overall thing going on here. It's not just taken from one person's experience or from two people's. We're speaking about, hundreds of thousands of people that over the years, experts have taken and done studies on. And, it is about getting to know somebody and looking at their traits and seeing what they're about. Like, who are they really? What are they really about? Rather than going off those emotions, because like we said, the emotions can easily lead you the wrong way, because you get stuck in that. You say, yeah, but I feel this way. Yeah. And how many times have you heard, yeah, but I love him? That yes, but I love him. What does that mean? What does that mean? He doesn't treat you right. He doesn't do anything for you. He doesn't lead. He doesn't speak to you with any type of respect. He speaks down to you. Maybe he cheats on you. And then the woman says, yeah, but I love him. well, what do you actually love about him? Let's break it down. You know, what is it you actually are loving on him? The fact that he speaks to you disrespectfully, the fact that he won't do anything for you, the fact that he goes out and does whatever he wants to do and never considers you. I mean, that's really self-sabotaging yourself, because that's your life. That's who you're experiencing this life too. So for you to accept that in your life, you're allowing somebody to treat you that way. You don't want to treat yourself that way. So don't allow other people to treat you that way, is what I'm trying to say also here.
I agree with you, but then we would totally have to go back to how they grew up and what they seen growing up too.
Yes.
Because again, if they seen that behavior was acceptable among their parents, the fighting, the cheating, the back and forth, the all those type of things, where do you think a lot of people get their love blueprints from? They get it from their parents,
people around
they
them.
get it from Disney movies.
Yes.
Unfortunately. So then now they have this perception of this is how it's supposed to be. And it's not. Now, obviously, again, as I said, you have to have a strong vetting process. That like right off rip, like I'll ask a lot of women, what is your vetting process? I don't know. No, then that's why you keep entertaining these type of bad men, because you don't have a vetting process. It's like a house. You're just letting everybody in. They knock on the door. You're just like, come in, do whatever you want. And you don't have a vetting process to say like, okay, like, you know, like what is his dating history like? You know, does he have his own place? Does he drive? You know, not asking him these things, but just kind of like watching and seeing. How does he treat his friends? How does he treat people when we go to dinner? How does he treat me? You know what I mean? Is he masculine? Can he provide? Can he protect me? Because it's not just about buying gifts. It's about conversations, energy, compatibility. Like, do you guys have the same principles when it comes to money, when it comes to life, when it comes to raising children? You know, when it comes to just, you know, daily things that would make a relationship grow. How do you handle fights? Like if you guys were to get in an argument, how would you handle that? All those type of things need to be looked at. So if you don't have a strong vetting process looking at any of these things, and you just say, well, screw all these things, I'm just going to go off of how I feel. Now you're not vetting the men properly, because I'm telling you, Michael would be a millionaire, multimillionaire off of the word I feel.
Yes.
So many women tell me I feel. Like I hear it like a lot in a conversation. I feel. And it's like, no. Where is your vetting process?
Yeah, what's the logic here? And also another thing that that I want to add to this is, over my experiences, what I noticed is the people who have that I've attracted that hasn't been a great relationship, they don't treat their mother with respect.
That too.
And I thought that was for me, that was a big one, because, you know, if the male doesn't speak to his mother with respect, the woman that carried him for 9 months, the woman that gave birth, the woman that fed him and done all this stuff for, let's say, for 18 years, then how is he going to be respectful towards you? He's not.
And it's interesting that you say that, though, because think about it. In those situations, you were able to see those things, but you didn't care because you were like, I feel.
Yes, absolutely.
That was your statement. I feel. You were going off feeling. You weren't looking at like, damn, like this guy treats his mom bad, or like, you know, whatever, because you were in the Disney fairy tale of I feel. It wasn't until later, until you got into the relationship, that you were like, this I feel doesn't work anymore, because now reality comes in it, and it literally just comes in it like boop, 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 right in the face, like literally just slaps you in the face.
Yes.
So like that's the thing, like you're sitting there like, damn, what did I sign up for?
Yes.
This guy's not making me feel the butterfly way that I felt before, and now it's a problem.
Yes. And I just want to add also as another one to it, and I suppose this comes under red flags, really, doesn't it? So it's the mother and, oh goodness, I've just forgotten what it was. just my mind's just gone blank.
No, you were pretty much saying like how he treats his mom, and but that's what I'm trying to say. A lot of times when women say "I feel" and they're going off their emotions, now they're ignoring a lot of things.
Absolutely, they do. I mean, we do. We really, and I suppose that's the big difference between men and women, isn't it? Then men go by logic and by what's there, and women go by
Well, I'm
emotion.
going to correct that. Not all men do, because the thing is, a lot of men are more tapped into their emotions, so then they go off their emotions too.
Are you saying that's more of a recent thing though?
Well, that's the thing. It's not an attack, but some men are overly emotional.
Yeah, but I think that's recent. That's more of a recent thing. Men never used to be like that. I don't
like some men are very overly emotional. And it's funny that you say that it didn't used to be like that. It's been like that for a while. It's been like that for a while, because when you look at it, that's why the dating thing is so off, because you'll have women saying, man, a lot of these men are way too feminine. And then you'll have men saying, well, these women are way too masculine. I think at the end of the day, we have to hear each other.
Yeah.
But we also have to hear ourselves.
Yes.
Right? Because the thing is, even me, I'm not going to sit here on a high horse. I'm not going to say that I've dated some bad women. I've made some bad choices when it came to the dating selection process.
Absolutely.
They weren't bad, but they weren't good for me either. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. They weren't good for me. They were maybe good for someone else, but they weren't good for me.
And I think when we can accept that and just see that and recognize that and realize that, it makes our life, we can live a better life. We can feel and experience life at another level, rather than being stuck in these relationships that you
shouldn't be there.
You shouldn't be there, but you keep making up excuses after excuses. And it normally is what Michael just said. I feel. And it's, what you feel and what you're living are two different things. If you're experiencing somebody not giving a damn about you in any way, shape, or form, what do you want to be with them for? You want somebody who's going to love on you, dote on you, that's going to, open the doors for you, that's going to take you out, that you can have those deep conversation with and enjoy life with, and be going in the same direction. If you're going in different directions, you're going to completely always have this resistance or this pull apart between the two of you. One wants to go that way and one wants to go that way, and then you're the one giving up and saying, okay, I'll go that way, but actually it's nothing to do with what you want in your life. So you're giving your life to somebody who's not even doing anything for you. It's different if it's like there's a massive connection and you guys are on a really good level together, but to be doing it when somebody gives you no respect whatsoever, or they respect you every so often, you think they do something really nice, you go, oh, you see, he done this for me, but how did he treat you for the other 12 hours of the day? More like poop. And just because he done that one thing, you think it's not,
See, I want to give you guys one of these moments, and this is for the ladies. So I want you to pay attention to my voice and what I tell you, because we're going to go very deep here. The best connections that I've ever had were the women where the attraction grew over time. Let me say that again. The best opportunities that I've had with women, like getting to know them, was where attraction grew over time. They weren't ugly women, but I was so focused on the conversations, so focused on the connection, so focused on us having a good time. Every time was always better than the next, and we're excluding bedroom fun here. Some of these women I knew for like 3-5 years, and eventually like the attraction grew. So let's say like something happened between us or whatever. Those were the best relationships I've had compared to the ones where the bedroom fun was happening right away, like let's say within a month, 3 weeks, whatever. And then like the relationship kind of like fizzled out. The best ones I've had were those ones. You know why? The main focus wasn't like trying to get with them. It was like getting to know them, seeing their vulnerability, watching them open up, watching them be genuine, them watching me be genuine, them watching me open up. And it was the time factor and the connectivity, knowing that it was a space where we could both be ourselves, both be vulnerable, share our shortcomings, and still love each other, like as human beings. And that's when I noticed that the attraction started to grow, for only certain individuals. And this was maybe like only two individuals, throughout my whole life. And I'm taking these two individuals and comparing them to all the other ones I've been with. There wasn't much of a connection. There wasn't. The people that I knew like the longest, where I had like the best connections with, we saw all sides of each other. And we were still able to be like, yo, I still want you here. I still care about you. There was still all of that, compared to the ones where I just had bedroom fun. It was never my intent, but those are the girls that like I dated and whatever. And then when we dated, and it just kind of like fizzled out. It was like, I know I shouldn't be here, but I'm here. Compared to the ones where I had the best connections with, I never second guessed being there. Never. I was like, yo, like this is good. This is awesome. So that's why I'm trying to tell you that the best connections, like Lori's stuff really resonates with me, because the best connections grew over time, right? I started to find myself attracted to them. Like I was like, whoa, like, like learning stuff about her, seeing the vulnerability, how she operates with other people, her level of reciprocation, how she treats me, all of it. So that's why I'm trying to say that, what she said, it's true. Taking your time, vetting people, but morely just picking and choosing the right people to do it with.
Yeah, and I think if you take that time, like you just said, you take that time to get to know someone, it gives you that time and space. You're doing it so that you can have a long-lasting, happy relationship, like I've noticed, and you've probably noticed the same, Michael, how many people just meet someone, the next thing you know, they're around their house and they're staying the night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And it's like, whoa, you just met each other. Like, give each other that space. You've never been around each other before. Now all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, but when I go home, I feel like again, I miss them and I want to be with them and I want to be with them all the time. And it's like, well, hang on a sec. You had a life before you met that person. Take that time back, step back, and give yourself that time to understand what you like about this person. What is it that you're attracted to, and what do you want from this? And but actually going into somebody and then being there day in, day out for a number of 3, 4, 5 days, and then doing it again. You go home for a couple of days and then you're back there again. And next thing you know, you're living together. It's like, whoa, hang on a sec. It's only been 2 weeks and you think
what Anthony's trying to say is we get caught up way too quickly.
quickly.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like especially like if you're attracted to the person, it can be very difficult. I've had that happen multiple times. Like I again, Tinder. I'm not afraid to share my shortcomings. She thinks I'm attractive. I think she's attractive. We meet, maybe second or third date. We're at each other's houses. You know what I mean? Look, we're not saying that attraction is a bad thing. It's totally okay to be attracted to someone and have that deep burning desire, but at the same time, don't go too far.
Yeah, too
where
quick.
you stop vetting.
Yeah.
Because just because you're attracted to someone doesn't mean they're good for you either.
No, that's right.
And I think like that's where like we also need to look at that too. Like just because you're attracted doesn't mean that they're good for you either. Yeah. So for a lot of women, I would say, yeah, he could be a good man. You could be attracted to him. But you also need to understand is, does he complement your life? How
Yeah.
does he fit into your life? That's what we need to look at. Because how does he fit into that?
And another thing, like we're saying, like the good men, take your time. If somebody, you can see somebody's good-hearted, you can see they've got all the right things going on in their life, but you're not fully attracted, and you haven't got those butterflies to start with, and you haven't got that whole thing going on. Take your time, give them a chance, because at the end of the day, if he's a good guy that's going to be there, love, respect you, take care of you, and you're going to be able to be the woman that's good for him too, then take that time with it and get
Yeah.
to know him, because the ones that come along and come, we've had it so many times, especially here in London, the way guys approach you, it's especially the younger ones. Oh dear, they just think you've got no tactic. They just come to you and they just think by coming and saying, I like you, I want your number, that you're just going to go, oh, okay. Like,
You know what? That is a completely different topic because I okay, this is where me and Anthony will finally disagree, guys. You guys will get to see us disagree on this. I think that's okay. I
think I've got an image in my mind of the way the way that the people in London actually approach you is not what I think. The way you're looking at it is, you're a man. Look, you're a good man. You're a good-looking man. You would come and you would approach in a certain manner. Now these people,
but
don't
it's a sorting process.
Yeah,
like if I see a girl and I see that she's attractive, I will walk up to her and just say, "Look, I find you very pretty. I would like to know your name." If she tells me her name and I see the conversations, like she's not like, "Oh, I gotta go somewhere," and she's staying and having the conversation, and I'm like, "Look, what is your number? I want to go out for drinks sometime." That's how I view that, because the thing is, it's a vetting process. You're either going to take a win, you're going to take an L. So I definitely don't think there's anything wrong with the direct approach, because that's what it is. Because let me ask you a question, and this is what's going to get interesting. Would you rather have the guy stare at you across the room and just stare at you?
Oh, no.
Or would you have him approach you at least?
100%.
Tell you that he finds you attractive.
100% approach.
And then based off of that, say, you know what, I'm okay, or you know what, you're attractive, I'll entertain you. So it's interesting that you said that you're like, well, the men here, I don't like the way they approach, but would you rather him stare across you the room?
No,
or would you rather him shoot a shot?
There's certain ways of approaching. I think what came to my mind was the more negative side of the approach. But
okay,
I've had guys come to me that have been like a nice manly guys and actually ask me, and I've been very I will give my number if I look at them, I kind of feel what they're about. You have a quick conversation, you think, okay, yeah, cool, but then you get the other ones that are just like, I mean, it's an image. I'm not even going to try and explain it because we're not there on that subject today. But yeah, look, I think what it comes down to with the whole subject here is what we were saying, is why do women run away from good guys? And, I think if we come back to that point there, we're running away from them because we don't know how to love. We don't know how to accept love, right, Michael? It's a really...
Well, I would say you don't know how to love yourself fully.
Yes.
So then you can't ever love them fully, because the love that they give you, you're not used to receiving. You're used to turmoil. You're used to fighting. You're used to all of that. So when the good man gives you none of that, you're like, well, there must be something wrong with him. He must have like a Jekyll Hyde type thing, or, you know what I mean? Like, it scares her off because she's like, he's too good. Now, are some guys fake nice to have bedroom fun? 100%. But you can tell that there are some good men that are genuinely nice, like genuinely like want to be kind to you, actually care about you, willing to reciprocate, willing to provide, willing to do all the things that you require And that's the thing. That's a whole different topic, because a lot of times they're still not happy because even as she said in the video, they're repulsed by those men. And a
And
lot of times,
true, isn't it? Isn't it a strange thing that happens? I find it really interesting. I find it really, really interesting. And when you really think about how deep rooted it is, and the fact that we don't love us, well, I mean, it's not somebody not loving themselves. It's so deep, because that's why I just think it's so important, no matter what is going on, to always take that time and throughout your days understand how you treat yourself first. Like,
yeah,
honestly, understand what are you doing to you, how, like I said we had a conversation a day, and someone had said that their partner had sworn at them but used quite deep, nasty words.
vulgar language.
Yeah, and I was just like, whoa, you know what? I really thought about somebody being in a relationship with somebody and them speaking to me like that. There's just no way I would accept it. Now, I've accepted it in the past, and I've accepted, oh, I'm sorry I spoke to you like that, and just got on with it. But now, no way. And I said, why? And I said to myself, why would I not accept it? Because I would never talk to myself like that. I would never call myself names like that. So how can I accept somebody else speaking to me like that?
Can I make a small correction? At the end of the day, we also have to realize nobody's perfect, right? So if your man is good to you, like let's say 95% of the time, right? And let's say he slips up one time and calls you,
different. Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say. Like, let's say he slips up and calls you, you're being silly,
yeah.
or you're being stupid. You know what I mean? You can just kindly say to him, hey, like, you know how those certain words make me feel. Please don't use those type of words around me. That's it, because that's the thing. We can't put a level of perfection on people either, because yes, we can say, hey, like, I don't tolerate this. But we also have to understand that nobody's perfect. Everybody has their good days and their bad days, right? Like, you could have a bad day, and again, this is where emotional maturity and emotional mastery comes into play. You can't take it out on your partner.
No, that's right.
That's the thing. That's where that emotional thing comes into play, right? So, getting onto the topic of why women run away from good men. To sum it up, they're not ready for those type of men.
Yeah.
They are not ready for those type of men, because
Yeah.
they haven't gotten to a point where they've healed a place where they've dealt with a lot of their trauma, pain. So then when they meet those guys, they're looking automatically for like issues.
Yeah.
They're looking for problems. They're looking because that's what they're used to.
And when they don't find it, it's that saying, oh, he's just too nice. I don't know, I can't do it. It's just way too nice. It's just way too nice. Yeah.
Exactly. He's way too nice, but that's the thing. He's way too nice, but he's providing you the security and provisioning that you need. Now, I can understand to some degree if he was way too nice or he had no backbone, then I can understand, because at the end of the day, women don't want a man that they can push around. It's a turnoff. But again, we also have to factor in, and a lot of women are actually coming forward and talking about this, that are like 35, 40 and saying, you know what? A lot of good men asked me out, and because I was never ready for them, I never gave them the chance. Imagine if I would have given that man the chance. I would have marriage, I would have kids, I would be happy. So that's why, like, we're talking about this, because you have women that are coming out now and saying, man, there were a lot of good men that asked me out, that wanted to be with me, that wanted to take care of me, that wanted to show up for me. And I told them, no, 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 no. And then here I am now, 35, 40, no kids, no marriage, bad dating experiences with men, and I'm not happy.
Well, the nice thing is, on a more positive note on that one, is even though they've experienced that and they've said that, they now know what to look out for. So when a good man does come along, they can say yes.
And they can receive him 100%.
Yeah. And I think
And
that's
it's
important
about
as well,
doing the
right?
work. Like that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
now you can receive that good man. And that's the thing. That's why having a strong vetting process is so important, because if you don't have that, you're going to entertain anybody and everybody, because now you're just going off of how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
You're not looking at, oh damn, like he doesn't speak to his mom properly, he doesn't tip the waitress, he can never maintain healthy relationships. You're ignoring all of that because you're just only focusing on how he makes you feel.
Yes.
That's how women naturally operate, though. They operate off of feeling. But
Feelings.
at the same time, don't be too ignorant to ignore the flashing sirens. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, don't be
Yes.
too ignorant to ignore that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great he makes you feel good, but never ignore the flashing sirens around you, because those are the things that are going to get you hurt.
Yes, and just I remembered what I was going to say now earlier on when we spoke about the mother after what you just said there. It's when they speak, if anyone brings up ex-partners, how do they talk about them? That was another one I realized. The ones that weren't right for me, and we didn't, there was a lot of arguing, a lot of whatever between the relationship. They'd spoken about their ex-partners in such a negative way, and I'm not one to hear things like that. I don't agree with that myself. This is my personal opinion. If somebody starts speaking about somebody, I don't care if they're your ex-partner or your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister. I don't want to hear how bad they were or how bad your relationship was, because like Michael clearly pointed earlier on, it wasn't that they're a bad person, they just weren't the right person for you. So for somebody to come and stand, and if I'm just got into a relationship with them and they're saying, oh, my ex-girlfriend, I can't stand her, she's a this, she's a that, then now I know that's a red flag, because they're disrespecting somebody. We don't even know who they are, and they're bringing that person's name to you and completely destroying that person who they are, when you don't actually know them, because you're not going to get from them what that man got from them, or from what that woman got from them. It's a whole new relationship or something completely different. They just didn't get on, they didn't see eye to eye, their relationship didn't work. Doesn't mean she's a bad person, or she's a bad mother, or she's a bad this, or she's a bad that. And so the second I will hear that, now to me that's a big red flag, because if things aren't going to go well between me and you, does that mean that once you walk away from me, or I walk away from you, or there's a relationship breakdown, that's what you're going to do about me? You're going to speak that way about myself? So when you, oh, this girl out there, no, I don't like that. I don't agree with that, and I think that's a red flag.
Yeah, that can be. It can be. How somebody talks about others. I think, like, you see why women run away from good men. It's because, again, good men don't bad talk any of their exes. They look
That's
at
right.
them as experiences.
Yep.
They say, hey, like, it didn't work out with this person, we're not together anymore, but it's cool. You know what I mean? It was an amicable split.
And it was an experience,
And
because
that's it. And then they move on. Like,
yeah,
they move on. Like, hey, I'm not with her anymore, I'm getting to know you.
mm-hmm.
That's it. You know what I mean? Because, again, when it comes to the relationship dynamics, not all of our relationships are going to be perfect. Some are
No.
going to end poorly, some are going to end this way. But I think as long as you can educate yourself in certain ways, then you can make better choices. Because I need you guys to understand something. This is what this podcast is about: making better choices. Making better, because the thing is, a lot of times in the dating thing, we're running around like on a carousel in a circle. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
eventually the ride has to stop. You got
Mm-hmm.
to stop making these bad decisions. You have to start choosing better options.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly think that's what it comes down to. And I think I'm not telling women to give every guy that asks you out a chance.
No.
But what I'm trying to say is vet them out. And if he's a good man, give him a chance. But if you haven't worked through your stuff, stay single. Because what happens is is if you haven't worked through your stuff and you date that good man or whatever, you could end up damaging that good man. Now he's like, I don't want to be good no more. I don't want to be this loving, caring person, because now this person is literally just damaged me, because you know, and you're like if you haven't worked through your stuff, now you're going to bring that into your relationship. Once you've brought it into that relationship, now it becomes problematic, toxic, damage, because you're so used to toxic and bad men. Now you're damaging this other person's life, like this man's life, and then he's like, I never want to do, like, be a good guy or do the things that good men do, because of the experience that he had with that person.
And I want to say also on the back of that is I hear so many people say, oh, all the good ones are gone. That is just a limiting belief. I mean, I promise you, there is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of good men out there. Like, I know it's portrayed to be this way that, all men are bad and they're like this or that. It's not like that. It's not. It's where you, like, you know what? We come back to where we can put our focus. If you're focusing on men that are bad and you think that all men are bad, what do you think you're going to attract in your life? Do you think you're going to attract a really good man if you're looking for, and you think, and your perception of it all is that all men are bad? You're going to attract that, whether it's from your childhood and again, that comes back down to you haven't done that self-clearing in yourself. You haven't come to that self-love either. So rather than thinking that all men are bad out there, start focusing on where's the good ones. I'm looking for the good ones, and I'm open to receiving the good ones. I'm open to them coming to me, right?
It's interesting that you say that, because I will disagree with you to that sentence slightly, for one reason. A lot of people say, oh, there's no good men left, or there's no good girls left. What people don't understand is if a person's a good catch, they get swept up quickly. That's why you can't waste time.
Yeah. But there is
That's the thing. Like, they're still out there.
Yeah.
They're still out there, but you also need to understand that they get swept up quick.
Yes.
Like, that's what people don't understand. Like if a person's a good person, a person's not gonna wait to lock them. They're gonna lock them down as quickly as possible.
Yes.
That's the thing. There's good people out there. I'm not saying there's not, but I'm saying they get locked down fast. So then you have to be able to discern quickly, like, okay, did I get a good one? Okay, lock them down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did I get a good one? Lock them down. Because that's the thing. We all know that they get locked down fast.
Mm-hmm.
If a guy finds a girl, like, attractive and she's everything that he's looking for, he does not wait to lock her down. No. He locks her down, like, right away. He's like, okay, boom. Yeah, like, right away. Yeah. He doesn't wait. And it's the same thing with women. When they find a good guy, well, again, if the woman's in a healthy place, right? If she's in a healthy place, she will lock a guy down quick. She will not wait. She will be like, yo, like, when are we going out? When can I see you again? Halfway through you guys getting to know each other, hey, I want to date you. I want to be with you. She does not waste time, because she understands that this guy or girl, this person could go quick. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is they can go quick. They get locked down very quickly.
But I think also, like, it's that expectation, isn't it? So many women expect the man to be bad. They expect that and that, I think that was my point, is you just get, it's like, if you don't see those bad traits, then you think that there's something wrong. But it's not.
They're used to the bad traits. That's the thing. They've adapted to the bad traits. They're used to their man yelling at them and being rude and crass and all these things. And guys are used to women being that way. So then that's what ends up happening, is they've entertained it for so long. Now it's become natural to them.
Yes. So moving forward, just do everything you can to be aware of what's going on, vet the guy that you're meeting. And I would say, try not to turn it around for yourself and expect the good. Expect the man. When the man's being good, it's because that's what a human being is supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be in a relationship. It's supposed to be good.
I agree with that 100%. As I said, off rip, we all know attraction matters.
Absolutely.
If you are attracted to him and he's a good guy and you've been getting to know him for a week, give him a chance.
Give him a chance. Absolutely, Michael. I think really give him a chance.
That's it. It's very simple, right? Like, I understand that the message will go over some people's heads, but learn from your peers.
Yes.
Go out, literally. You can go Google this stuff. You can go video. You can go look at the stuff on YouTube. Women are coming out openly and saying, "Man, I had a lot of guys ask me out in my 20s. I had a lot of guys ask me out in my 30s. Good men, never gave them a chance. If I would have, things would have been different."
Absolutely.
And it's because they were living in this Disney fairy tale. There needs to be sparks. There needs to be this. There needs to be that. There needs to be all of this. And then it's like, but where has that gotten you? That's what I always try to teach a lot of women. Is it getting you the results you're looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Has it? No. In a lot of cases, no. Like, living in this Disney fairy tale, rejecting a lot of these good men, it's not getting you the results.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're doing is not working.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, guys, we'll wrap it up because we've been chatting for an hour. This is probably our longest podcast. This is probably our longest podcast. But anyways, guys, we actually have some good news on our 20th episode, which I believe is going to be, I believe, at the beginning of September. We have some good news for you guys, like some real good news for you guys that we're going to share with you guys that will allow you guys to interact with us more, be with us more, have these conversations more. And then we're also looking at getting some guests on next month, 2 guests, different time slots. They're good friends of Anthea's. Anthea, why don't you tell them like a little bit about your guests?
So we have one who is from a group called the Law of Attraction, The Secret. She created the group around 6 years ago now, actually, Melissa Rodriguez, and she has grown this group to 182,000 members, and it's growing. She's my business partner in a business we've just kind of created together over the past few months called Becoming Abundantly You. And Melissa has had her little story was basically that she was in bad relationships and she was picking the wrong people. And anyway, she sat down, she started in the personal development side of things and started to understand where it was all coming from. And then she wrote a list of everything she wanted in her man. And she wrote point to point. She went in, she just wrote pages and she really sat there and took time with it. Within a couple of months, she met her husband. She's now been married for 10 years and happily married. And I'll let her obviously explain the whole story. But this is more of going from a bad relationship into a good relationship and the hows between and what her steps were between that. And then we have Dr. Christina Winsey, who is she actually focuses on people who trying to think now, she's overeating, so she really focuses on the fitness side of things and the mindset behind self-love, really, and why we do certain things in our lives. And she's also my business partner in Becoming Abundantly You, and she wants to speak on the other side of things, is of the relationships to stay away from. So we have one who wants to speak about the relationships that are good for you, and the other one is going to speak about relationships to stay away from. So it's really exciting to have them on as guests also. And we really look forward to doing.
We're going to have them on as guests next month. It's going to be on a weekend. We're going to plan it out. We're going to have some special guests for you guys. You know what I mean? You're also going to get to hear, like, again, because I'm the only man, like when we have that conversation, I'll be the only man, but you see, it's a learning experience for me listening to them, because you see, one of them's happily married, one of them is coaching and teaching. So, you know, it's going to be great. We're going to give you guys that. And then we also have some big news, I believe, on our 20th episode, which is going to be big because, again, like, this is our, at the end of the week, it's going to be our 17th episode. And the next month, I believe we're coming up on our 20th. And on our 20th episode, we're going to drop some big news for you guys. Something that you guys will like, something that we want to give you. It's bigger than a PDF, but it's pretty much, I'll give you guys a little sneak preview. Pretty much, we want to give you guys our clothing line. That's what we're going to announce to you guys. We're going to have more details for you on the 20th, but we want to announce to you our clothing line, our love and relationship clothing line. We're going to have like love and relationship stuff on t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, everything. We're working out all the details right now, but we also want to have something that represents us, that you guys can also wear as well too. So I think it will be great. As you guys know, well, some of you don't know, maybe some of you do. I'm a very fashionable person. So my heart and soul is going into the logo creation and making sure that, it's something that you guys can enjoy, stylish, but also something that you guys can also reflect on, right? Because it is a culture. You know what I mean? I think dating and relationships, it's a culture, it's a movement. We're all on this planet to date and be with people and connect with them. So the brand will pretty much be focused on those type of things. So with that all being said, guys, we will see you guys this Friday. We actually have a good topic this Friday. All of our topics are actually pretty much good, but this Friday is pretty much going to be, you'll never be good enough for the wrong person. And I think in a lot of cases, again, I'll touch on it briefly, we've all dated the wrong person trying to be good enough for the wrong person. Yeah. And that's where we end up getting hurt, because we end up doing so much for them and you'll never be good enough for them because they weren't right for you from the beginning.
Whew. It's so interesting and so cool. I'm really excited about doing that one, actually, because I've got some experience in it.
There you go. So that will be this Friday. I have some experience in it too. And we will talk about it this Friday, guys. So we will see you soon. We will see you this Friday.
Take care.
We've come so far, 20 episodes in. And now we want to take it to the next level with you guys. And it's all about your support. So please like, share, subscribe, do all of that stuff. For us, it helps us climb in the algorithm. It helps us climb up. It helps our videos get out there. So please support us any way that you can. We don't ask for much. We ask you to click a like button. We ask you to hit a subscribe button. And we will see you guys this Friday.
Lots of love to everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye.